Hello and welcome back to another Demis Hellen tutorial. We're going to take a look at sidechaining reverb using the MIDI from the melody to trigger the reverb. I'm going to demonstrate this using the MIDI that I've got already. It's pretty tight, so there's going to be not as much breathing room as there would be with a synth that has a lot of gaps between each note. But nonetheless, you'll be able to hear the same effect. So what we need to do here is actually grab an effects channel and set it up with a reverb. So I've just set it up with Supermassive and loaded the forward reverb preset and set the mix to 100%. So now to link these two channels together, we need to grab the Synthmaster 1 channel and go to the sends here. So if they're not selected, you can just click on them and they will appear. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to look for reverb synth. That's what I've named this channel over here. So we're going to click reverb synth and just turn this on. So now it's just sending across, and you can set this to pre or post fader here just by clicking on this little icon. Orange is pre, post is after. So pre the fader or post the fader. If you need to know more, just have a look at the Cubase manual because we're not going to go into depth on that. Now over here on this is now going through to here. So if we take a listen, you'll be able to hear this reverb influencing this channel now. We could just turn this off. Okay, so it's sounding pretty good, but the reverb, if we start turning that up now with the fader, it's going to start washing over the sound, and the sound's then slowly going to get drowned out. And it's not the best preset in the world. I am going to tweak and make my own preset using this, but Valhalla Supermassive is one of the easier ones just to quickly load and show you. Okay, so we've got the link. It's been sent, all good and well. So now we want this channel's MIDI to trigger this. So every time the MIDI hits, it cuts just like a kick would, cutting out for the sidechain compression. Now what we need to do is link the sidechain feature of a compressor, and we're going to use Pro C2 obviously for this, as it's always the go-to for demonstrations. So I'm just going to type in Pro C2, and what we want to do is activate the sidechain feature down here and use the MIDI to trigger it. So instead of having a kick drum triggering the bass to sidechain the bass a little bit, we're actually going to use the MIDI to sidechain the reverb. So I've covered this in previous tutorials, but I just want to show you how effective this really is and how important it is to keep all of your synth notes raw without any reverb on them, and then let the reverb swell in after and around those notes. So we open up Pro C2 here, and we're going to set, so if you haven't clicked that already, click Sidechain and click External. It's going to be the same for a lot of plugins, especially DAW's own plugins and things like that. And you can see up here, activate sidechain mode. As long as that's active and external's active, all these settings are now going to affect the sound. So I'm going to turn the threshold all the way down so we don't hear any effects of the compressor when we first start it, and then we'll dial it back to the extreme, and you'll be able to hear the reverb disappear as the notes take priority because they are obviously compressing really heavy when we turn that threshold around, and you'll hear no reverb or very little. Okay, so that is now there. We just need to link the two together. So we've got the settings on the reverb channel there with the compressor. So that's the signal that we want to duck. We now need to go back to our sends, drop that menu down, and near the bottom we will have there Reverb Synth FabFilter Pro C2 under the sidechains menu, and now they are linked. Let's just turn that on, and it's doing a pre-fader there. That's fine. It's still sending the signal across. So here we go. I'll play this and you will then hear the effects when I drag this threshold down. You can hear it starting now. And now it sounds like there's no reverb at all because it's not letting that volume return back to its original level, i.e. before compression started, because we've got really, really heavy compression on. There's a lot of balancing that needs doing on this, but we aren't going to focus on that because we will deter from what we are actually looking at. So we're going to make our own MIDI, which is going to make this a little bit easier. So let's jump to a section. Let's just jump to a section after here. And we're just going to create some very simple chord stabs. Okay, so we'll just do it like that. And let's give it a bit of depth as well. Let's copy them down. Okay, sounding really good there. Perfect for this example. So let's jump back into the mixer here. And go back to the compressor here. Okay, so we're going to chuck that down. All raw. Let's bring it back till it sounds about right. About there. Now you can hear that reverb coming back in as this ramps back up. And we can control that with the release. Faster. So depending on what style you're looking for is how you'd set your release. So let's set it a bit slower. Just want that gentle rise so it's nearly invisible. And this to a classic compressor. Bit harder, reduce that release. But it's a little bit too fast, let's dial it back. You can see I'm turning this and watching this so I get a nice curve. So now it sounds smooth, like it should be happening, and it becomes transparent to the ears. Once you take your focus off this plugin, go away, come back and listen to the track again, you'll start to hear it's a lot smoother in the mix. So just a bit of context, because obviously it doesn't fit with the rest of the track, this part. But just a few hat loops there, and we'll bypass this sidechain. So that's the reverb that's already on it, but it's not emphasising anything. So adding this sidechain is letting that level come back up, and we can bring this back up as well now. And we can readjust the settings. And all sounds well. And there you go, that is really simple that you can do in your mixes right now with sidechain compression using the MIDI of the melody to trigger the compressor that is compressing the reverb and delay and other effects that you might have on that channel as well. So as a quick recap, we have our MIDI channel here, which is providing the melody. We have our synth channel here. They're both the same colour for that reason. We've got the reverb at the top set to 100% mix. Pick the preset, make the preset, get it all set up ready. Leave the volume at 0, you might as well, and then set up the reverb send. So you're sending that channel to your reverb, so then that channel receives a reverb signal on it and starts washing it out with reverb. Then grab yourself a compressor, put it on the reverb channel itself, the effects channel, set up the compression, external, and if you have a button up here, and depending on what DAW you're using, activate the sidechain mode. Just quickly put your settings together if you want to, if you're already familiar with it, but don't worry about that at that moment. Once that's there, go back to your MIDI channel that you want to send to the reverb again, and you send that, that's the wrong button, you send that through to the sidechain section, and you'll see Reverb Synth Pro C2, and you can see Reverb Synth down here, and then Pro C2 is there. Once you've sent that across, it's all set up ready to go, and just set your settings there to taste, depending on the melodic sequence that you have. Gaps, faster release for shorter gaps to get it back to 0 quicker, or shorter gaps, longer gaps for longer gaps, like we've just created there with the synth. We only had like 3 stabs in the space of that bar, as opposed to a full packed MIDI sequence. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments. Get back to everybody all the time. Hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. That helps you see all 3 videos that I put up each week, covering various music production topics and trance. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.